Here we go. All right, again, my name is Joe Gonzalez, and I am a part of a success team here that works with Kaye Bassman and Sanford Rose. I'm your guys' kind of ground point of contact for this team in regard to strategies, consulting and talking about how you guys recruit on LinkedIn, brand development. A big part of this will be, hey, Joe, what tools, let's talk about the tools I'm using now, how you're using them, and how we can get more out of this relationship, and then what you should be thinking about moving forward and making sure we're always in line with the success that you guys want to have. So today's session is going to go over a few things, but again, it's mostly about getting your most out of this partnership and understanding some good recruiting strategies and tools, a few things that are kind of overlooked a lot of times, or just me sharing best practices as well. So just to give you guys a quick intro to this agenda today, loosely will be just to give you guys a slide of this team that's dedicated to you, so you kind of know where the points of contact are. Most of the time you're going to be coming to myself, again, for product, strategy, consulting. We've got a gal that's in charge of, a guy for technical kind of support, and then bigger questions get elevated up to the account manager, Chris. I've also got a set of, or a private group here for resources available. This is for Kaye Bassman as well as Sanford Rose, but essentially I'll give you guys the links to this private group where I will admit you. It's going to have a lot of different case studies and best practices and strategies and recordings and just overall support. I'm going to touch on some minor tweaks to, again, your branding strategy and how you guys recruit on LinkedIn, and teach you some concepts that are underutilized but are incredibly important. There's a really interesting time right now of staking claim on LinkedIn as far as thought leadership is concerned. So we'll be covering how to really become that staffing firm of choice within your given industry. And then I'm also going to walk through a brief demo, kind of walk through of Recruiter Professional Services, or Recruiter, basically our flagship product here at LinkedIn for recruiting. And we'll be talking about some of the basic as well as advanced functions, and for those recruiter users, some overlooked features and tools that can be utilized to really make a bigger impact, return on investment, and make you more efficient and productive. So we'll be going over those and then kind of finishing up with Q&A. We'll be finishing at the top of 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Feel free, if you guys have questions, to basically just post them within the chat function, and towards the end or whatever I can, I'll try to pop in and answer those questions out loud. So again, this is your success team at LinkedIn. A variety of people that we basically leverage as far as media specialists or recruiting specialists or product consultants or trainers or insights teams to help you guys really understand how you benchmark against your competitors, how successful you guys are being with the tools you're using, basically be able to do a little bit of a recruiter engagement score, let you know about how successful your teams are, and make sure they're just utilizing everything to its potential. Again, we just want to make sure you guys are getting the most out of the investment and this strategic partnership with LinkedIn. So you can see in the top left, Chris Carollo, he is in charge of the relationship with Kaye Bassman and Sanford Rose. He's the global account manager, and myself, I'm kind of, again, basically him on the ground level, kind of called the relay associate. So our emails are there, and again, I will be sharing this deck in the private group for Sanford Rose Associates, Kaye Bassman, so you guys will be able to review the deck and this presentation after. But essentially, as you can see, we've got a very devoted team here to make sure you guys are kind of supported from all angles and potential on LinkedIn. So mentioning resources, for those who have a recruiter license, in this deck you'll be able to click this link. There's essentially a new learning center that's been revamped with self-paced tutorials, especially as you want to go topic by topic and learn how to either apply a more efficient workflow through Recruiter, how to write better emails, basically running better Boolean search strings. A lot of the stuff that I cover in the group, but in a more, case-by-case basis, is available in the Learning Center. So if you're in Recruiter, you can basically access it under your picture, under training. But again, you guys will have this video. Here you can see LI for Sanford Rose Associates, again, open to Kaye Bassman and SRA employees. Want to make sure you guys get the chance to review and join this group. And again, in here, this group's constantly growing, but there's a webinar series that I put together, the 4-part piece, explaining the ecosystem of LinkedIn, why certain companies and staffing firms are winning today, what's the magic formula, talking about rebranding yourself and your company, and making sure this unique value proposition is consistently communicated and very clearly communicated in a way that really resonates with clients and candidates across your entire team. So every employee, everybody with a profile, all the company page, the content, the way you write your emails, the way you write your job postings. It's an awesome series, and I pulled together 3 other specialists in talent solutions at LinkedIn to help me put that together. So that's a unique series there. There's also the best video. If you think you're a master at Boolean, this video blew my mind. This guy, Glenn Cathy, who used to be at LinkedIn, made this video. Basically, Boolean search is more of an art form than a science. It's not necessarily exact. And just the way that he puts it in context of how you should be learning and innovating, search by search on Boolean is incredible. So if you don't feel like you're, absolute master on Boolean, that is an excellent video to watch. And again, guides to email best practices, LinkedIn's guide to modern recruiting. I really am encouraging group members to start discussions or comments and feedback on what's being shared. I even said at the bottom of this page here, what else do you want to learn? This is your guys' private forum to share best practices so the entire SRA Bassman teams can win. And you guys can be thinking about the lessons presented in different ways and hopefully requesting things that you want to learn more about. This is me putting out there what I think is extremely relevant and helpful to you guys, but I would love some feedback and to learn about or to help you with what you guys want to learn about. So again, go ahead and you can search groups LI for Sanford Rose Associates, and any of those related to Kaye Bassman or Sanford Rose I will approve this afternoon and let you guys leverage that content. So I just ask for some engagement, will be awesome. So again, the webinar series, Recruiting in the Digital Age, you guys will notice in there, the biggest concepts about this piece or this webinar series, again, is about sharing that unique value proposition of what you guys have to offer to your candidates and clients. And it hits major concepts, in regards to your personal and company page. Obviously, LinkedIn is a digital resume and a branding piece for your company, talking about, okay, look at how great we are, look what we've accomplished, where we've come from, where we're going, right? And that's all about us, and that's great. People need to know that. So that's validating yourself. But at the same time, you need to leverage your profiles and your company pages to educate. And this ties into the whole idea around the whole thought leadership piece like I was mentioning, and I'll dive into more in just a second. But there's reasons why people are following your company. We need to dig into that, and we need to add more value than just saying what kind of staffing firm and search firm we are, executive search or staffing, and we need to make sure we're providing that extra value so we differentiate ourselves from our competition. And I can't tell you how many times I've shared this message, and even from 3-person executive boutique search firms, one gal doing this on her own, 5-10 minutes a week, we're able to explode her numbers of followers through the roof from little to nothing to a couple of hundred within a few weeks, and it really snowballed and created this awesome effect of being able to make more placements, becoming more recognizable, and different offices are leveraging this across different accounts I'm working with. So the ones that have done this well are really reaping the benefits of it. So, and just a brief background on myself, I actually grew up in executive search. So my parents do VPs of HR, basically in Fortune companies and companies all over the country. So I scanned in resumes into Goldmine, if you guys are familiar with that old platform, and used to help vet candidates and basically talk about search every day with my dad. So very familiar with kind of the world you guys are coming from. So if you want to have kind of deeper contextual conversations, it'll be definitely stimulating. So excited to work with you guys on a more personal level following this presentation. So again, this idea of the thought leadership land grab. You want to be able to establish yourself as a staffing or search firm of choice within your given industry, right? You want to stake that claim, and a lot of companies are doing this right now, but not all of them. So it's like kind of like the time is ripe as of right now. So that recruiting series and the concepts I'll share with you guys are going to be huge to make sure you guys really gain that follower audience. So when talking about followers, from a single recruiter's perspective, sometimes that doesn't necessarily quantify into return on investment for yourself. It doesn't seem like it. It's more like a soft return. But I want to share some interesting stats with you. And the reason why a member on LinkedIn chooses to follow a company, 71% of the time is new jobs, which is great in your guys' case. And just about as much is for news and insights, 68%. So, there's those who join LinkedIn who are already in a job they love, and they're not necessarily looking for a new job, maybe opportunistic, but, they're really there on LinkedIn Network to join groups, to follow great companies, and be inspired by great thought leaders because they want to learn how to get better at their job. If we can get those people to be brand ambassadors for you guys and share it with those who are looking or who are more available for their next, lateral or upward move, that's going to be really, really helpful to you guys. So important, a company page shouldn't just be jobs you have posted and a summary. It needs to have I call it the rule of 3 with updating content. This is a big piece of what I'm about to share is basically putting up something regarding your specific industry. So industry-related, updates, news, insights. You guys are working hand in hand with your clients who are saying, hey, Sanford Rose, Brighton, we're looking for this type of VP of HR. Here's where we're taking our company in this direction. Here's where we see things happening in our industry. Basically sharing ideas and strategies with you from a crystal ball perspective. And how can you take that information, data, without, explicitly saying which client it came from, but be able to share good content and articles around what's kind of groundbreaking and happening or in the foreseeable future for the industry. Because if I were to show up on your page as a prospective candidate, I'm going to find that incredibly valuable that, hey, this is cutting edge news. I got to follow this company. Average number of companies that a member follows on LinkedIn is only 6. And you can imagine how many of those are probably search and staffing firms. Probably not a lot. So again, if you can establish that strong relationship, it's going to take you a really long way. And you'll be able to leverage these people in very interesting ways. So the impact that a follower has on your recruitment efforts, so directly to you as recruiters, 78% more likely to accept an email. That's probably the #1 request of most recruiters. How do I get higher email response rates? Well, if you're able to leverage the people who are following your company, much higher likelihood they're going to respond to you in a timely manner. 3 times more likely to apply for jobs at companies they follow. And becoming a follower means I voluntarily raise my hand and say, I choose to subscribe to SRA or Bassman's, news feed because it's of interest to my career potential, job opportunities, industry-related knowledge. I got to be connected and plugged in, and they're requesting this. So again, rule of 3, something industry-related, something job-related, and something brand-related, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday mornings. They're also 10 times more likely to share content distributed by the companies that they follow. So we'll share an important concept right here that, again, just to keep things brief, 2 things you should be doing on LinkedIn right now. And I just grabbed Brighton's page as an example because they have some good content up. So you can see one of them is make sure you have the best profile you can have. The second video in that LinkedIn Bootcamp Recruiter series in the private group is the one I ran. Basically, again, keeping consistent with that valuable messaging strategy that you guys want to apply across profiles, company, content, emails, jobs, etc. Is really making sure that the profile that you have is going to create as many warm touch points to create conversation relationship as possible. That it's going to not just validate who you are and what you're capable of and your experience, but you're going to use it to educate others. On my profile, under my summary, I have 5 little links to articles and videos that are for you. They're literally for you. It's one of them is a 2-minute tutorial on how to build a great company page. Another one's an article on how to leverage and engage and create a followership in that page. A recruiter demo, a talent solutions blog link. I mean, this is me. You get a message from me, I guess, kind of soliciting to you to talk about product and purchasing something. Yet, when you say, who's this Joe Gonzalez guy, you see what my summary and what I'm about and what drives me, my experience. But, hey, I'm here to service you. I'm here to serve you. And here's the knowledge and things I'm plugged in with. So I would urge you guys to make sure that you really have the best profile that you can have. Again, the second video's got that, and there's some good content in the group. Secondly would be, I know you guys have control, I believe, over your own company pages, so your own individual offices. You're not controlled up above, I think, for some of you. So if you can, you want to go through creating an awesome company page. Again, as you can see here, having logo, banner, everyone connected. Basically, everyone's got to have a picture. Profiles need to, again, be consistent in that messaging strategy. And you want to make sure you're putting the content and articles in. So as I post an article, you'll see right here, it's linked and says Sanford Rose Associates Brighton. It's a link back to this company page. So if I take this article or post and share this content, I guess if we could have you in a room right now and do a raise of hands, I'm sure everyone could raise their hand and say, yes, as an individual, I like, comment, or maybe share posts from my individual profile, maybe even on a daily basis, right? Now, that's great for building your personal brand, and if you have a high conversion of somebody viewing your profile after looking at one of your articles or comments, which, however many that may be, call it 100, how many are we converting of those 100 to looking at the company page to converting them to becoming a follower? This is the way the traffic flows. Candidate or client reads your email, they see your picture, they go to your profile, hopefully we convert them to the company page, and when they land here, we want to impress them with a very clear-cut, valuable message. It strikes them in the heart, shows them adds value, teaches them something, and at the same time as you're educating and you have these great articles on this page, what you're using to teach your candidates on how they can become A players in your industry. As you guys know, you'll have, top talent you can place anywhere, and you got guys, this guy Joe Gonzalez, he's got tons of potential. I don't have the time to train him or mentor him, but he definitely has a lot of potential. How can we do this at scale? Well, presenting these articles on this page is going to allow your followers to, basically grow and learn with you guys, learn about the industry, basically transform themselves through this. And as the clients follow these articles to your page, they're going to see the way in which you're engaging and teaching the candidates that you work with, and they're going to be impressed, and they're going to see how much you know about the industry, and they're going to go, gosh, we want to connect with these guys. I'm interested in having them maybe run a search for us. So works all the way around. One concept I love to teach is that if you're not already following your company and posting content, follow your own company. Go ahead and share. So at the bottom of these articles, you can usually click like, comment, or share, which you may see at the very bottom. And when you choose share, don't just choose to share to your network, which is the automatic option. Uncheck that. Choose to share to groups. Now, if you guys are familiar with groups, that's where, common talent hangs out on LinkedIn. So again, taking that VP of HR example, if I were to run a search on LinkedIn, and I can see maybe for those recruiter users, you can expand a filter called all groups. And you can see the top 10 most popular groups that VPs of HR, whatever certain filters you're adding in, this is where they hang out on LinkedIn, Group A. Well, now I can take these articles, and instead of going in there and being a transactional recruiter, asking for something, shoulder tapping, telling people about jobs only and pestering, can we go in there, add value, and share an article that's going to be valuable to them? That's going to teach them something. That's what groups are made for, is to share best practices and resources and ideas and generate really thought-provoking discussions. So that's what group moderators are looking for and value out of a group. Normally, some are around jobs, but most of them are around thought leadership. So if you can come in there as a recruiter, be totally different, share some great content, you'll be amazed, and I've seen it numerous times where candidates will basically see that article and they've read it, and they go ahead and click that link, Sanford Rose Associates of Brighton, they show up at your page, and that's where you dazzle them. They convert to a follower because they just want to subscribe to that awesome news feed. They find value in it. Or maybe it takes them 3 or 4 articles that you posted over time in there. They recognize your name and how great the stuff you're posting is and go, God, I got to follow these guys. And at that point, they're more engaged. They're going to respond to your email. They want to talk about jobs. They respect you. And they want to share your brand. Birds of a feather flock together. I know tons of salespeople in my network, so anything related to sales, I love to share best practices and concepts around. Makes me look good. So they're going to be sharing your brand for you. But again, instead of just sharing something from your own individual profile, come to the company page where you're posting this good content and thought leadership and share relevant content to very specific groups to draw out talent. So that's a really, really big concept as far as staking your claim and thought leadership here on LinkedIn. And again, establishing yourself as a search and staffing firm of choice within your given industry. It's absolutely huge, and it's a big snowball effect. So with that, this is just kind of the bigger overview things I wanted to present. I will be jumping now into the recruiter demonstration and walkthrough, unless there's any questions or comments so far. I'll open up chat to see. If anybody has any questions, I'll leave it open for a second. Feel free to shoot me any questions. So, all right. So for those of you, I know some of you use regular LinkedIn.com or maybe a premium membership, which comes with a handful of either filters, maybe a handful of in-mails, or a saved search here and there. Limited functionality. I'm going to explain some basic, really important differences in how these platforms are different, and then I want to again take you guys through kind of what could be or the idealized version of recruiting on LinkedIn. So maybe you guys have noticed this, maybe without really, thinking about it before, but as you run a search on LinkedIn, basically it's going to search. So I'll type in a VP of HR, just really loose search. When I type in a LinkedIn search for VP of HR, what we'll notice is that my connections, and I think this one's a little different, but your connections aren't necessarily just sorted by relevance. It's going to try to go people that are the highest relevance and then also closest to the connection to you. And I've got a limited degree of visibility. So the best person may be out of my network or, third degree connection or further. Problem is they're not always going to show up towards the top of my list because it's, again, LinkedIn.com is for professional networking. I think the reason this is helping me out a little bit, usually a regular LinkedIn will say all the first degree connections, second and third, I've got a premium, a high level premium membership for sales. But essentially for recruiting, it just kind of works against you in a way. You're going to have to go through the whole list of results to make sure that you're vetting all the candidates properly. LinkedIn Recruiter only sorts the results by relevance. So the most relevant people will display at the very top of the list. So big difference there. And again, anybody who's usually third degree or further on regular LinkedIn or basic premium memberships, you're only going to see snapshots of profiles or you only have up to second degree visibility. So a big ask of recruiters and what you guys have access to with your Sanford Rose Kaye Bassman / LinkedIn partnership is access to this tool again called Recruiter Professional Services. So it's extended visibility into LinkedIn, a more efficient workflow, basically more filters, just helping you guys to be more productive and efficient. So for those of you who end up having LinkedIn Recruiter, you basically hit this little button here that says Go to Recruiter. I've already loaded a couple pages here as examples so you can speed through. But essentially, the layout looks very similar, but it is quite different. You'll notice that I don't have updates on companies that I'm following. I don't see what people are sharing in my network. What I'm seeing on my updates is what's important to what I'm working on as a recruiter right now. So you'll notice the first thing is I've saved searches. So this is a search I did for a medium voltage engineer in Ontario within 100 miles of Ontario, with a bachelor's degree and at least 5+ years of experience. So just a random search I ran for a client back in the day. And today, it's basically shown me that, hey, there's this guy, Michael Darwish, who is relevant to your search today that wasn't when you initially ran the search. So consider this like an automated talent driver or talent pipeline. I like thinking about this in context of either talent that you constantly source for, and you want to be the first ones to reach them, like a very specific audience, either that you want to mentor or you want to be there that's in kind of senior leadership that you want to make sure you know about, or those that are like the purple squirrels, that are super hard to find, and you want to leave those specific saved searches open just to help you find those ones that are just a little more niche, a little harder to get after and just aren't as common. So think of this as like a mini LinkedIn recruiter working for you on a daily basis, sourcing new talent that you've specified. So again, this is just serving me up new people on a daily basis, and as I scroll down the list, you're able to see got quite a few different saved searches. You can see how quickly this can automate talent to me, and I can vet the candidates, pull out my favorites, send them a message, and basically track them through the process. I'm also in here going to see any responses to in-mail messages, so any messages that have come back, and also updates on specific candidates that maybe I want to choose a feature called Update Me. So essentially, it's kind of like a Creep Because We Care, like stalking tool. Anytime, if I wanted to follow Joe Gonzalez, I could hit the star on his profile, and anytime Joe updated his skill set, education, switched jobs, switched locations, anything of significance on his LinkedIn profile, it's going to notify me. It's kind of like constantly keeping a finger on the pulse on the talent you're working on. So very helpful to, again, automate talent streams to you to build that pipeline, very specific niche talent, either hard to find or constantly looking for, and then being able to, again, kind of keep that finger on the really, really great candidates. So when I'm in Recruiter, very much like regular LinkedIn, I hit this little button, Advanced, to go to Advanced Search. And I've already built out a search string here. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Boolean, but what I'm looking for essentially is the terms VP or Vice President or V.P. and the term HR, Human Resources. So I come from background in VPs of HR, so it's kind of my specialty. And I personally like to start with a wider net, see the larger list of results, and narrow down from there instead of pigeonholing myself or being too narrow to start with. So you can see here, for those of you who don't have Recruiter, there's a lot of options as far as filters or things you want to leverage, and I can even show even more filters. In Recruiter, you get 13 very granular filters. Granular meaning lots of options to be very specific about that talent we're targeting. Because again, you're going to be searching through a network of 300 million plus members. In the US, it's 100 million plus, and we grow by about 2+ members a second. Also, quick fact, we're the 6th most visited website in the world. And the number one thing to do on LinkedIn is doing profiles. So again, so important to have the right profile built out. But essentially, I don't want you guys to have to look through hundreds of resumes or profiles. I want you to be able to target not good talent or great talent, but A-level, A-player talent. So as you can see, lots of options we'll get into in a second. I run this search for VPs of HR. Give it just a moment to list my results out. You can see here I've got 219,419 results. And you can see from the top, if for those of you not familiar with Recruiter, you already notice a huge difference in that we get a lot more information on a candidate immediately once they pull up in our search results. And I can actually expand these profiles to show more information. Now, the reason Carol showed up on the top is because you can see in bold the keywords I was looking for came up very often in her profile. So essentially, she is the most relevant to what I'm looking for on LinkedIn, so congrats for her. But again, this view helps me to source more efficiently, much, much quicker than having to go into Peter's profile, look for the terms I'm looking for, look at the whole profile, and decide whether or not I want to reach out to him or save his profile. So love this view. So again, for those of you, again, when I talk about that whole content marketing side, being able to identify, hey, for these VPs of HR, I can scroll down to all groups, expand all groups feature, and I can see here are the most popular groups that VPs of HR hang out on LinkedIn. Personally, I'd probably even be a little more focused, so we'll even take it a little bit further. So we can say maybe a specific company size we want to target. So maybe, over 1,000 employees. Coming from larger companies, we can pick a particular industry we want to focus on. So a lot of these people will kind of determine their own industry. So I'll probably pick human resources, and then we'll pick a random industry of like financial services, because those who are usually in HR pick themselves in an HR industry. So these are all things to help me narrow down my list of results. And maybe I want to say something such as, years at company, or maybe years of experience total. Maybe there's a sweet spot. We want somebody more senior for this position, 6 to 10 years. Sometimes companies are looking for a little younger talent. So again, you can be very, very granular in your approach, and I still have a lot of people on this list, 2,600, 1,300. But you see how we can slowly pare down and even use things such as a job location. So I want to say location, located in or near, and I'll choose San Diego where I grew up, and I'll say within 50 miles of San Diego. Run a search. So again, you can be extremely focused on who you want to reach out to, and again, from here I look at all groups, and I can see, hey, these are the groups to hang out in. I want to go join these groups, so this is talent I'm trying to target, and share those great senior level, HR related articles within these groups to draw the talent out, to come look at my company page, to convert to a follower, to be responsive, to the jobs or opportunities that I've got available. So, and as well, I think it's really interesting too that think about filters in a different way that I never did before. One of the global account managers showed me this little trick the other day. He was talking about looking at people with less than 1 year of experience. You can actually draw some pretty cool insights from filters, because again, these are commonalities between talent trends. So we go any company size, change this back up. Where are we going? Just run this again. So essentially what I could do is, for example, if I wanted to see where VPs of HR have been moving from specific companies back and forth, I can basically go into and look at current company, past company, and I can set the years in this position as less than 1 year. So this is a little, I guess, kind of not the best example, but you guys get the idea of where I can look at, okay, so within the last year, these people have changed roles into a VP of HR. Currently VP of HR within less than 12 months, and I can look at the past company that they were at, and I can look at the current company that they're at. So essentially I get the idea of who is losing talent or gaining talent at scale. And again, this is a pretty loose example, but I just thought that was pretty innovative to leverage a filter to gain insights onto talent trends. So kind of think about those contextually. But what I'm able to do in this platform, just to kind of move along with the process, is from these views, I can basically check box and cherry pick candidates I think are good fits. Or let's just, for this example, I'll select all. I can save these profiles instead of trying to keep track of them somewhere else. I can save them here on this dashboard of LinkedIn, and I can call and create a new project and call it VP of HR, San Diego, and I can choose a status for these candidates and say these are all future prospects. These are values that I can associate or change myself. And from here, I can save their profiles to that project folder. So project is a fancy word for, holding space for candidate profiles for specific jobs. And I can also save, I can save this search and call these, VP of HR, San Diego, 50 miles. And if it was my old search, 6 to 10 plus years experience, whatever it is I'm looking for. And I can associate it with a project that I've already got up and going. So my VP of HR job, San Diego, and I can basically automatically select, hey, I want to get alerts about new talent that I've targeted in this group. I've looked through the list of candidates, I pulled out my favorites, I'm about to send them a message, but the rest of them, in the future, anybody who's new, I want to know about. So that's what that box says there. So now I've just associated and saved that search, with those candidates involved, and it's going to continue to automate talent to me. So same with this list, I can actually go to this actual project here. Here's my VP of HR, San Diego. You'll see I had 25 people in the project. I've associated one search with it. No new activity as of yet, other than labeling them future prospect. Now, let's just say that I've run 3 different searches and selected my favorite 25 candidates, you'll start seeing under the profiles, you have complete transparency into what's happening live time on your dashboard. So anybody at your office that's also on Recruiter, you get to see, hey, if we're both running similar searches, Ed Hudson comes up on, Bill's search while I'm running my search, and I've already, planned on reaching out to Ed. Bill's going to see, oh, Joe says he's being considered for, this particular project here, this job, VP of HR in San Diego for whoever, Qualcomm. And then I can see here that he's labeled him as a future prospect. Joe can also, myself, can actually apply terminology to these profiles. So before I send them a message, I might say, yeah, I really like everybody here. I may not keep this folder open forever, but I've taken the time to look through these profiles and have vetted them to the point that I can make some safe assumptions. And so one of the things that's really underutilized, especially for Recruiter users, is the tag feature. So for those of you not familiar, essentially it's a terminology I want to attach to profiles that I can run a recall on later. So, for example, I choose the profiles I want to tag, and I say add. I can add a tag, a note, a status, or a source of where they came from. So I'll choose a tag, and we want to say, HR. Everybody here is an HR. We can say VP. I can say A player, right? I don't think I have A player up yet. Or 100. I used to have one for 100K plus. So whatever terminology you guys want to be able to add to these profiles, I select the terminology, click add. I could say manager, I could say top talent, I could say referral, people that you go to as a referral person. And basically it's going to tag all their profiles with this terminology. So again, when I'm running my search, I can say show me people that I've tagged as A player, VP, HR, with the location of San Diego and however many years experience I'm looking for. And I know that the list I'm going to see are people that I've already looked at in the past that I think were valuable and worth my time to check out. So as again, you can see the tags here applied to the profile. So I like to classify candidates as I vet them, so that way I can leverage off this work later. But again, if I want to send them all a message, one unique feature of Recruiter is the ability to scale your messaging. So again, just amplifying your efforts. So I choose to select all and send a message. You can see that I have, 25 recipients. I can choose the subject type or say, hey, expertise request, write a test subject here and choose a custom salutation, write a note. I can even include my contact information with the in-mail, how to reach me. I can even save this in-mail after I write it as a template and name it. Test, VP of HR, San Diego, and I can choose to share this template with my team members. Really helpful. There's a reporting feature in the Recruiter that allows you to see who's having the most successful messaging, who's getting a high response rate, and as a team, you can leverage off the style that Recruiter is applying and see if it works for your audience. Really helpful. You should definitely leverage the collaboration side. But what this will allow you to do is, say I message everybody here today, start getting responses. Well, tomorrow this guy Bill pops up, who's somebody I want to reach out to for the same job. I don't have to go copy and paste or find that message and rewrite it. All I got to do is go from choosing my templates, and I can see, basically pull up one of my templates that I had before, fills in all the information, customizes, I built it ahead of time, and I can click 2 clicks and hit send. So extremely efficient. And then again, what's really important is being able to measure this data, be able to see here, for example, under reports, I can actually look at the in-mill analytics and see, again, as a team, which again, I haven't sent any this week, as a team, it's going to show me our response rates and how many of us are using templates and which ones are working. Up here, we'll be able to see the templates used and actually read the messages and then see what we have in common with these recipients. So a little bit of data, again, sorry I don't have mine, I don't use this account as often anymore, but it's going to populate as a team and yourself how successful you are, how many nodes you got left, are responding, what's working, so you can A/B test, innovate, and continue to move forward and get better. So what we'll see here in a little bit, so again, as you might want to go into a particular applicant's or candidate's profile, you'll notice this layout is a little bit different than what you're used to. Again, this layout itself actually has changed in the last few weeks. This has been consolidated to the top right. But from here, I'm able to look at a couple different options in regard to Katie Gray. So again, she's not a VP of HR, she's executive assistant to one, so I probably would have vetted her out for this, but in any sense, we use her as an example. If I think Katie's an awesome candidate and I want to know about anything she changes on her profile in the future, I click this little star. It chooses to update me on her profile. Her updates will show up as flags here in regard to updates on top talent. So anytime she changes anything important, I'm going to know about it. I can see she's already associated with the VP of HR project in San Diego. She's labeled as a future prospect, and I've tagged her with HR and VP, so we can probably delete VP now. I can also leverage tags from directly within a profile, check out the recently used tags or all tags, basically select what's important to her profile. Notes, really helpful. I mean, I know you guys probably leverage an outside database, such as a ATS or CRM, but it's nice to have this data like right here live in LinkedIn. So especially on past conversations you've had, you can leave a little note, or my personal favorite is a follow-up reminder. So you should be logging into LinkedIn at least once a day in Recruiter to be seeing what's happening in your talent world and your agenda. And it's going to show up here in your to-do list that, hey, Katie Gray is available as of today to talk about an opportunity to be an executive assistant to the VP you just placed, or something of that nature. So reminding yourself automatically through LinkedIn when to follow up specifically with a candidate, available on this date, job A. I can add this to her profile. So this is going to show up in my calendar in about a week. You also have the ability, if you want, I don't use this feature often, but you can add any links from her personal information or her personal files or any resumes attached. And then also one of my favorite functions here on the right, again, you have an ATS or database you guys are using. I'm not trying to create double work for you, but if there's a few pieces of information that's important to you to track within a candidate's profile, you guys can leverage any of the ones built here, or you can actually build custom ones. And I can say, again, expected salary or willing to travel. Maybe you want to say things, such as willing to relocate and availability date. Pretty common. So they're just basically little quick drop downs, willing to relocate, yes or no. So she's not, add this to her profile. So all these things will basically be listed through here for you to leverage later. But this layout is going to help you guys to make sure you're as efficient and productive as possible. And as a team, you'll be able to benchmark yourself against other recruiters and see, am I logging in as much? How many searches are the top users running? And then from a manager's perspective, you can say, all right, is my team leveraging this tool to its potential? I mean, for example, saved searches is also measured, as you can see here. And, if you're not saving searches, then you're going to be running the same searches over and over again. If you're not leveraging tags or this pipeline kind of build, you're really missing out on a big part of what this recruiter tool is able to do for you guys. But this is kind of like a day in the life, like a sample workflow. If you guys have specific questions you want to go over or struggles you guys are having on LinkedIn, I would definitely want to cover them. But if anything today, I really want to make sure that you guys pop into this LinkedIn for Sanford Rose Associates group and join, because within here, again, these are conferences from Source in New York City, the biggest event for talent in LinkedIn, every year. Maybe requesting what you want to learn, the boot camp series, rethinking your profile, messaging strategies, company page, recruiter's guide. It tells you how to leverage this platform. The stuff that I'm talking about today, I do custom little videos and lessons as well on best practices and what's I'm learning as we're going. Such as like that filter I was just showing you guys for people with less than 1 year of experience. Where did they come from? Where have they moved to? Who's losing talent? Who's gaining talent? It helps you gain insight into where maybe your potential clients could be, or the clients that that are losing people that you could be reaching out to and offering your services. It's all about being in the right place with the right message, at the right time. So, big key concepts. Let me see here if there's anything left to show you guys important. For those of you who post jobs, I don't know if you're aware of this, but we recently purchased a company called Bright about a few months ago, and we basically bought them because they have the best algorithm out there in the world right now for matching up jobs with candidates. And so buying them for about $120 million, integrating their algorithm to our job matching platform on LinkedIn. And now we've just released a more sleek, it's basically an iPhone job seeker application, which in my opinion, the LinkedIn app wasn't so great for job seekers. This one's fantastic. What this means for recruiters is if you write your job postings the correct way, you're really going to get a high response rate. I ended up at LinkedIn because of this right here on my own home profile. I was basically reading content and it said, hey Joe, here's some jobs you might be interested in. And it's actually that one right there. It was in San Francisco. And I clicked on it. I could see who had posted the job. And when I looked on Tom's profile, or it was my boss, Scott Barber, it was so engaging and taught me so much with this great content and ideas that it provoked me to want to seek out opportunities. And this advertisement here said, hey, Joe, picture yourself with LinkedIn. Find your dream job with us, with my photo. So all these things together is about converting them over to applicants or brand ambassadors. And within this tool, you guys actually have the ability to have what's called a slot, a flexible job posting versus just a static 30-day one, where I can actually take a look and see the names of people, or the names or the account or titles of people who are viewing my job. Again, I love data and analytics, making sure, am I targeting the right people? I've got people from research managers to retail consultants, different types of companies, different types of industries and regions. This is my ability to make sure that whatever's up there, maybe I need to repost or rethink about how I'm describing it to make sure I'm targeting the right audience, and then be able to see actually the applicants, overview, manage this from one location, and if you get a ton of responses, swap it for something else. It's great. So these job slots and these recruiter professional services seats, these are what you guys have a strategic partnership with LinkedIn for, to have specially negotiated pricing, resources, support like this group that I've created for you, training, and myself more like the strategy consultant. So with that, I appreciate you guys listening to me ramble on for so long. I know we've covered quite a bit. There may be still some more questions you guys have. Please write them in the chat and let me know what you guys want me to answer for the next 5 to 10 minutes, and I'd be happy to respond with whatever knowledge I can share with you guys, or things that you want to see in future sessions or within the group. So leave it open for a few minutes here. No questions or problems that anybody's experiencing with or without Recruiter, any specific frustrations, maybe successes you guys want to share. I'd be happy to call it out to the group if you guys write it in the chat feature on the panel. But if nobody has any questions, we can close up. I'll load this recording to the group. And again, please, engage me in that group. I really want to see some discussions start. For those of you using Recruiter, talk about how it's impacting your business. Talk about your frustrations. Talk about what you love about it. And, I'm interested to hear what you guys are finding valuable. And here we go. Keep getting reminders of new candidates on searches that you've closed. So you can go to, so I'll pop into here. That seems like it's potentially a bug, maybe not, but let me see, I run Recruiter. If you go up here to searches and see all saved searches, You can make sure, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's deleted, maybe it's not, or maybe you thought it was closed, but check in here. So again, within Recruiter, just hit this little weird little paragraph-looking button, see all saved searches, and you can turn off or on any of the search alerts that you don't want going anymore and still have your searches available. Just turn them off, as well as delete them too. So if it still has a problem for you, go ahead and shoot me an email and I'll push on to tech support. I know there's a few little kinky things going on and problems in LinkedIn here and there, but we're sorting a few things out. This integration of that algorithm with Bright, as well as some other features and software we've been developing, our guys are pretty tied up. So there's little buggies happening here and there, but they're all getting resolved shortly. So let me know if there's any issues with that. But anybody else, please, time is your guys for the next few minutes here. Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you so much. I know we did it just 5 minutes under an hour, and I appreciate your time. But again, engage me in the group. Enjoy the recording. Please share with anybody that you think would find this valuable. And please, please, please go join this group. There is not that group. There's awesome content here for you guys to leverage in LI for Sanford Rose Associates. That webinar series is fantastic. Powwow as a team, make sure everybody's on the same page with how you communicate your value proposition and how you're going about explaining how you guys are there to serve, educate, and provide value. And obviously at the same time, that will differentiate and validate who you guys are. So enjoy the series. Please give me some feedback, and let's make this group a really exciting, engaging, innovative one. So look forward to working with you all in the future. Please feel free to reach out to me directly, connect with me, send me an email, talk about your guys' recruitment strategy at your office, what tools you're using, what you'd like to try out, or kind of where you see things heading for you. Would definitely love to work with you one-on-one. So you'll be able to reach me through that group. All right, everybody, take care.